What's up, YouTube? So, I'm a little bit late to the party, but even when I'm late, I'm on time. But let's get into it. So, we know recently Oleksandr Usyk won the rematch against Tyson Fury via unanimous decision. And once again, he actually beat Tyson Fury. However, you thought after that, everything would die down for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody getting ready for Christmas. But it just hasn't happened. So basically, Timothy Bradley, who is the actual Hall of Famer, actually came out with a video stating Oleksandr Usyk isn't an all-time great. And basically try to run down his resume and say who has he beat and everything else. And beating Tyson Fury, doesn't make you an all-time great. Now, this is the same Tyson Fury, rather the same Timothy Bradley, who actually had Tyson Fury as an all-time great. And when you look at somebody like Tyson Fury's resume, you have to ask himself, who the hell did Tyson Fury beat to become an all-time great? I mean, we could say he beat Klitschko, and that's cool. But you cannot absolutely say by him beating somebody like Deontay Wilder makes him an all-time great as well. Now, granted, somebody like Deontay Wilder really is very limited as a heavyweight outside the right hand, the knockout punch that, he put people to sleep with. But if you look at somebody like Deontay Wilder resume, it's almost like, who has he beaten? But anyway, for somebody like Timothy Bradley to come out and say Oleksandr Usyk isn't an all-time great, I just have to wonder, what is he comparing this to? Is he looking at Oleksandr Usyk whole resume, including with Oleksandr Usyk fighting at the cruiserweight and also adding the heavyweights in? Or is he just focusing on the heavyweight? Neither to say. I look at it like this. Do I think somebody like Oleksandr Usyk is better than the top 10 heavyweights of all time? No, I don't. But at the same time, that doesn't mean Oleksandr Usyk isn't an all-time great. See, what Timothy Bradley said has sparked a lot of YouTube content creators. Those content creators who actually were making videos shitting on Timothy Bradley by criticizing him. Some of them were actually calling Timothy Bradley a coon. On top of that, all of a sudden jumped on the bandwagon of Timothy Bradley by him saying Oleksandr Usyk isn't an all-time great. So let me cut to the chase. So you got this one YouTube content creator, and it's more, but I just want to focus on this one. This one guy who's more like an octoroon, and everybody know what an octoroon is, but decided to come out and make a video stating how Martin Bakole had knocked out both Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois in sparring. Now, to those who are familiar with Martin Bakole, this should have come with no surprise because everybody knew that. Martin Bakole been saying that for a long time, so I'm not sure how this is even breaking news. And not to mention, somebody like Daniel Dubois actually admitted Martin Bakole got the best of him. So this is not breaking news at the end of the day. Now, me being a big fan of Martin Bakole, actually made a video stating how a lot of heavyweights are actually avoiding somebody like Martin Bakole, and they're afraid to step in the ring with him, whereas though you got to go down the list. and Martin Bakoli is the actual boogeyman. But this has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. The Octoroon decided to make comparisons with Oleksandr Usyk and all the great heavyweights, such as what, kind of what Timothy Bradley did. But he started naming off names and talking about how all these all-time greats are better than Oleksandr Usyk. And again, like I stated earlier, I have no problems if you want to make comparisons whose era is better and all that other stuff, because we already know back in the day that era was actually better. However, to say that somebody like Oleksandr Usyk isn't an all-time great is absurd, because at the end of the day, he's the best heavyweight right now in his era until he fights somebody like a Martin Bakoli or, a couple other heavyweights out there. But the fact of the matter, he's the number one heavyweight. He's the one with I would say all the belts, but one of them was emailed to Daniel Dubois, which at the end of the day, Daniel Dubois actually has a right to basically saying, look, I got robbed of a knockout. But anyway, at the end of the day, Oleksandr Usyk is the man of the division. So people tend to ignore the fact that Oleksandr Usyk was also undisputed at the cruiserweight division. And the funny thing about it, for the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division, Oleksandr Usyk won all of his belts on the road, on the actual road. Now, in the cruiserweight division, he went into everybody's backyard to take the belts. Then when he got to heavyweight, he actually went into AJ's, Anthony Joshua, backyard and took the belts. And then they fought the rematch in Saudi Arabia. And then he turned around and took the belt from Tyson Fury. And I believe that was also in Saudi Arabia as well. But nevertheless, he won all of his belts on the road. Again, because I don't think Oleksandr Usyk is a top 10 heavyweight of all time, doesn't necessarily mean he isn't an all-time great. I wholeheartedly believe somebody like Oleksandr Usyk is an all-time great because of what he's doing for his era. And the guy can actually box. He actually has skills. He really has skills. Now, we know what the narrative is from some of these channels, especially from the Octoroon, because he has a narrative to push. Like, why would you mention, oh, he's not better than such and such, such, such. That doesn't make him an all-time. He's not an all-time great because he ain't better than these guys. Like, there's a limit to becoming an all-time great heavyweight. Like, they don't even know the criteria, or they probably do know the criteria, but they just tend to ignore it in order to push a narrative. Absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, I wanted to bring this up and bring this to y'all attention. And the fact of the matter is, I want to touch on something else. A lot of these same channels were cool with Tyson Fury being an all-time great. Just because Tyson Fury beat somebody like Deontay Wilder and stopped him twice. Because in their mind, Deontay Wilder was their king. And nobody couldn't beat Deontay Wilder unless it was somebody like Tyson Fury, which is probably the reason why that these same people are saying Oleksandr Usyk, in order to solidify his legacy, he needs to fight somebody like a Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder? Have anybody seen Deontay Wilder lately? Because if you're saying Oleksandr Usyk needs to fight Deontay Wilder to solidify his legacy, then somebody needs to tell Deontay Wilder he needs to win a fight. And it's no slight to Deontay Wilder, but I'm just being honest here. However, they were content with Tyson Fury being the, all-time great, comparing him to the greats of the past. But when somebody like Oleksandr Usyk beat Tyson Fury, all of a sudden, he's not an all-time great. Because in Tyson Fury's defense, they were saying he's 6'9" and he could move like a welterweight or a middleweight. He got legs like that. But he got schooled by a smaller man and beaten twice. But anyway, that's all I got. Bold and understanding. I'm out. Peace.